Hey guys, coming to you from inside again. It is really windy out there, so I want you to be able to hear me without feeling like you're in a wind tunnel. I have a couple stories for you today. The first one coming out of Florida, of course, in the wake of Hurricane Helene and Milton. It seems like the pressing issue for Hurricane Helene survivors right now is the FEMA 50% rule. And according to the FEMA fact sheet, individuals, communities, businesses, and governments all have a stake in how buildings damaged from a disaster are rebuilt and repaired. Rebuilding after a disaster provides an opportunity to make buildings stronger and safer. The primary goal is to reduce risk of loss from future disasters. And I wonder whose interest they are thinking of most. If local officials determine that a residential structure has been substantially damaged, meaning the cost to repair the home is equal to or greater than 50% of its market value before the disaster damage, the owner generally has three options to bring the structure into compliance. Those three options are: number one, elevate the building to a height determined by local officials; number two, relocate the structure outside the floodplain; and option three is to demolish the structure. Now, with a show of hands, how many of you think that any of the people in Florida or North Carolina, any of the floodplains, any of the damage zones, are going to elevate their structures, are going to put jacks and piers under their homes and elevate them 3 to 4 feet? I'm thinking exactly 0% are going to do that. Maybe 0.001% if people really love their homes, if it's their forever home and it's still intact, maybe, but I think very few people are going to choose that option. Number two, who thinks that anyone is going to relocate their structure? Who's going to take their home and put it on a flatbed truck and drive it to Arkansas and put it on an acre or a couple acres of land out there? Who's going to? I'm thinking probably zero again. I don't think anyone's going to relocate their home. So that really only leaves one option for the vast majority, 99.9% of these people, which is to demolish their structure. So they're going to have to bring bulldozers in and just clean these things up. When an owner was asked whether he was rethinking about living in St. Pete's, his response was, probably not, but it is getting a little old. Yeah, I imagine getting hit by hurricanes and destroying your home is getting old. One realtor who was listing a property for sale on St. Pete Beach for $790,000 said that the owners said they plan to walk away and get whatever they can from insurance from selling the lot. Probably 99.9% of people are going to be doing the exact same thing. There's going to be a lot of owners who have to bulldoze their homes and sell for lot value, which can be anywhere from 20 to 50% of the home value, depending on the location. And this is tragedy, I think, financially for these people who could have sold their homes for $800,000. And now it's going to be a quarter of that. It's going to be 250, 300, 400 if they're lucky. Just a fraction of what the true value of that home was just a week ago. It's really sad. And we don't know how many homes it is yet, but CoreLogic calculates that Hurricane Helene caused between $30 and $47 billion in total wind and flood losses across 16 states. So that is going to be a lot of homes with over 50% damage. And it'll be interesting to see if insurance carriers can survive the payouts. But I think that's why FEMA is stepping in, is to protect the insurance carriers from having to make these 100% payouts or 80% actual cash value ACV, which is on most home insurance policies. So they're going to save between probably 30% to 40% just because of this FEMA regulation. And in other news, there are other market conditions across the country besides acts of God. According to a market update from realestatepdx.com, price reductions in Oregon are high and likely to continue. As of October, 49% of homes on the market have undergone price reductions. Heading into October and further into the fall, we expect prices to lower slightly as sellers continue to reduce prices to accommodate lower market conditions and high inventory, says the source. This article attributes the decline in buyer traffic to seasonality, but inventory levels reached 1,558 homes at the end of September 2024, which is higher than it was in 2023. And the source expects that high inventory will continue into the holiday. And this tells me that the source knows that the high inventory continuing into the holidays is not due to seasonality, that people are trying to unload their homes. And many of these people might be Airbnb owners who bought a property just for Airbnb. They're turning a house into a hotel, like many people did during the pandemic era, because there was so much helicopter money. There was all this um, liquid capital injected into the economy. And so while Airbnb has not been banned in Portland, the city has been trying to crack down on illegal short term rentals on the platform that haven't filed permits with the city. There is one problem, and that is that Portland admits that it doesn't have the personnel with the expertise to ferret out illegal hosts. So there are definitely some illegal postings. The city knows this, and really enforcement of this ordinance is the issue. So, as the saying goes, while the cat's away, the mice will play. In this case, the cat can't even figure out where the mice are. So, until that happens, there are going to be illegal Airbnb postings. I have stayed at Airbnb twice in my life. The first one was at a home in Amarillo, Texas. We were passing through and we stayed there. It was cute. It was fine. It was a nice, clean home that we had to share with three other people who were staying in the two other bedrooms in this house, and it felt more of like a college dormitory with a shared kitchen and bathroom and everything, with sharing this intimate space with complete strangers. And I think I'm past that stage of my life. I might have done that when I was younger, when I was in college, staying at a hostel in Europe, backpacking or something like that. That would have been fun. But when I'm traveling with my children, I really want a private space where no one else can come into. There's no threat of any kind of weirdness or anything like that. I'm not trying to accuse anyone of anything, but you know how it is. If you're a parent, you want to make sure that your children are safe and that you're safe as well. And it was just an okay experience. The other Airbnb that I stayed at was a apartment in Cincinnati, and it was rented by two college age guys, and it was about what you would expect from an apartment rented by two 20-year-old guys. It was stinky. It was disgusting. Dishes were overflowing out of the sink. The place hadn't been vacuumed or swept, nothing. The only thing that was clean in that apartment was my room, the one that I was renting for, I think, $25 that night. And I did it because I wanted a deal. I think I was only in town for literally 48 hours. I was there for one night, and I just wanted to spend as little as possible. I was checking on one of my properties out there. And so I rented it, and it was probably an illegal rental. I don't know if Cincinnati was requiring permits back then, but something tells me that if they were, that these were the kind of people who would not have done that permitting process. So those are the only two Airbnb experiences I've ever had. I like hotels. They have room service, pools, gyms, saunas, continental breakfasts. That is the definition of vacation for me, is going somewhere, spending time with no obligation or responsibilities. That's a vacation. I don't want to have to go into a home and have a list of expectations and requirements to clean the room that I'm staying in, and also pay a cleaning fee for that place to be cleaned by myself. No thanks. No thank you. That is not my idea of a vacation. So that is my soapbox. I got a little off track there, but going back to the data from Oregon, there is plenty of data confirming that it's not just inflation or rates that are causing the affordability crisis, but that Airbnb is contributing significantly to the national housing affordability crisis. A Harvard Business Review study found that a 1% increase in Airbnb listings in an area is associated with a 0.018% increase in rents and a 0.026% increase in home prices. It's depleting the housing inventory by turning what could be homes for families into hotels and running up rents and prices. And according to data from AirDNA, the average daily rate for an Airbnb in Portland is $167. Compare that to the average hotel price in Oregon being reported as $136 by budgetyourtrip.com. So that is quite a difference there in price. So hotels are cheaper than Airbnb and they're not depleting the housing supply. Imagine that. Hotels are doing the jobs of hotels, not single family homes doing the jobs of hotels, even worse than hotels can and for more money than hotels are doing. So, in my opinion, houses are homes, not hotels. If I were king for a day, I would ban Airbnb across the world. And when I say that, I mean that I would not allow people to turn an entire home into a hotel. They couldn't buy a home and make that a dedicated Airbnb space. If they wanted to put a room in their home on Airbnb and rent one room out of their primary residence, that would be fine. And probably many of you are going to disagree with me about this Airbnb thing. You may be an Airbnb owner, and that's fine. But just know that that's contributing to the housing inventory crisis. It's depleting the inventory for people who, for families who would like to own a home. And just know that those are the consequences of your business model. And so I wonder if any of the homes destroyed in North Carolina or Florida were Airbnb homes. And to all of those mice, I say, Mother Nature has moved your cheese. But to all of the owner occupants in the path of the hurricane, I say, I'm truly sorry for your loss. My thoughts and prayers are with you. I really hope that your insurance pays out the maximum that you can get and that you're able to move forward with your lives, rebuild, and enjoy a new forever home. So on that note, thanks for watching. Remember to like, subscribe, comment below, share this video with someone else, and don't give up when you can get ahead.